Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I don't know if y'all ain't listened to this new Jill Scott yet. You gotta get on it. You gotta get on it.
That's everything that we need and more.
No, seriously, she's doing a good job. Like it's like her old flavor, but it's like some of her features. She got like Tierra Whack. She has Too Short on a song.
I did see that.
Yes. Hey, Nisa. Welcome, everybody. We're just giving people a couple minutes to trickle in, maybe like a minute or two. Actually, 1 or 2.
And yeah, we love it when y'all engage. So please, so who's in the chat?
Yes. Yes. The friends have made it. The friends have made it.
It's still a little roll call. I wonder where people are listening in from.
Yeah. Are y'all on EST or PST? Because it's really, there's things in the middle.
I saw something like that recently where they were like, I didn't even know that there was a CST because when I was watching shows when I was growing up, it was always Eastern Standard Time or Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah, and when you're young, you take things super literal.
Literally.
And I feel like the Midwest is kind of hey, okay, Omaha. That's an MST or C. I don't even know what's in the middle.
I know, MST Mountain Standard, CST Central Standard.
Okay. Got it.
EST and no one cares about the middle.
Hi, Nigel. Educated, girl. Today we will get educated. Not on that area. We can't all be specialists in everything.
Not too much on CST.
I just be forgetting. You're right. I do like the CST. I forgot. I be forgetting about Chicago and Omaha. There's Black people there, y'all. Happy Black History Month. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's get started. You have now joined the Education Evolution. You are listening to Unscripted. This is a podcast for the thinkers, the doers, and those who know that the most important lessons are not always learned in school.
I'm Hadi Had, but you can call me Mr. Jihad today.
And I'm Lindsay, affectionately known as Miss Black.
And yes, like this episode is no real notes, no real prep, just real talk with your host, Lindsay and Hadi. And we're going to go ahead and get started, Linz.
Yeah, I want to pause, though, because if you were the Reformist Pipeline listener, or you've been keeping up with us since we gave TRP a BBL and created the Education Evolution about 6 months ago.
Come on, BBL.
Welcome. We're literally so happy to have you here, your loyalty and your continued support. And if this is your first time ever listening or interacting with the show, it's a very special thank you to you for jumping on here with really no prior knowledge on what it is that we do. But we do promise that you won't be disappointed because Jihad and I are quite entertaining and informative.
We try to be. But on that note, I have to kick us off with the Happy Black History Month. And if you didn't know, I want you to know that this year marks the 100th celebration of Negro History Week, which essentially is the observance that was founded in 1926, a long time ago, that later evolved into what we now recognize as Black History Month. And what began as a focus week to ensure that the study of Black history in schools expanded over time. First, it was a month on college campuses, and eventually it was a federally recognized observance. And yes, it still sits in the shortest month of the year.
And honestly, we need to sign a petition to get a longer month at this point. Because allegedly it's placed, and I just looked this up today, y'all, because Google is free. Allegedly, it's placed in February because it's tied to the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. But I don't believe nothing. I think y'all trying to cut us short a little bit, honestly. But what do I know? So I'm going to set the energy for y'all today. We do expect this to be interactive. Y'all are already doing a good job in the chat. So if you have a thought, just share it. If you have a question, ask it in the chat. If you see a question in the chat that you can answer the question. This is a community space here. And I think, it's kind of difficult to figure out how to translate community through a screen. But Jihad and I have never seen ourselves as the bearer of all knowledge, but rather facilitators of learning or people that provide different perspectives on public information that we all have access to.
So, with that, let's go ahead and practice. What's the first word that comes to your mind when you hear Black History Month? And that means that you respond in the chat, just in case you missed that.
Yes,
And while
yes.
they do
First
that,
word.
Lens, what was your highlight for this month?
Well, I am one of the lucky few who is born on one of the 28 or 29 days of February. So my highlight was my birthday. I had a really great birthday. I did a birthday in EST and I did one in PST.
Love it.
And then Valentine's Day was really a great day. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother who passed away during COVID, her birthday's Valentine's Day. She's a Valentine's baby. So instead of, being sad and crying on Valentine's Day, we try to like make an event out of it, me and my family. So I took my mom and I do a really good job at planning, just so y'all, some of y'all in here
Yes, you
know,
do.
but I do a really good job at planning. I had a really nice intentional gift. I took her to Elefante in Santa Monica, which is like, it has like it's like a rooftop bar restaurant with this amazing view of like the ocean. And then I had her open this card to like tell her, hey, our surprise activity is like nostalgic, but it's also really new and riveting. And my grandmother was a avid Olympics watcher. Like, we are an Olympic family. Like, I remember in high school,
That's what you
I didn't really
said.
care about the Winter Olympics, but I knew my mom cared so much that I could be running, ripping and running the streets, and she was not looking for me because she was watching the Olympics. Like, that's how die hard we are.
You knew.
And we're die hard Olympians. I'm saying Olympians, girl, you know me. We're die I feel
You
so
can be that
slighted.
too, right? I felt it. I was like, come on.
Ooh, I'm just so excited. But
Oh my god.
we are diehard Olympic fans because of my grandmother. And so I was giving the gift to my mom of seeing an Olympian in action. She was confused, but Jordan Childs, our gold medalist in gymnastics, she still go to UCLA down the street. So I bought us tickets to see her, and I think it went a little viral, but she got a perfect 10 score on her floor routine. She don't look nothing like that. She looked much better than that. But we were at that show.
Go
So
ahead.
that was
Go
really my
ahead.
highlight. And I think it kind of ties in, not to jump ahead, but it kind of ties into what we're going to be talking about today is like Black history, like literally in the making, present day, and what it takes to continue and create Black history rooted in excellence. Whew.
Wow, that was a great summarization. And yeah, I know people are going crazy in the chat and saying happy belated birthday. We love
Oh, thank
that.
you.
Lens, we
Aquarius
celebrate
gang.
you. And yes, to all the seeing Black history. I love that.
Thanks, Hottie. What was your highlights for the month?
Wow. So, I think that for this to be the second month of the year, it doesn't feel like it. I feel like we're a lot further along than we are. But this month, I would like to celebrate the fact that I did board governance training. And you're probably like, Jad, what the hell is that?
Ooh,
And
you read my mind. I was going to pretend.
so, I joined a board, and it's called the organization, nonprofit's called the Youth Mentoring Action Network. And one of the first things that they kind of coordinated for us is a training so that we can know what we need to be doing. What are our responsibilities and expectations when you join a board? What is the duty of care? What are you liable for? So that you actually know what it is that you're doing. And I will say, I want to point out and call out the fact that most boards you probably don't get access to these types of trainings. And so I just was truly appreciative of that because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I want to know what I need to be doing so that I am able to support the organization to the best of my ability. And one thing that was called out during that session by the consultant who was running the training, she essentially was just naming that a board has never looked like this in all of her years of doing these types of consultation experiences. And that was a win for me because we are a board of folks who identify as LGBTQ. We're a board of folks who identify as Black. And that is amazing. We are not the stereotype. Like, we are literally trying to, we will be the new stereotype. And that's what I want to celebrate.
Mm, mm.
And I
I
also
like
want
that
to,
there.
I think that was, just a lot of fun doing that and something that was very different. And which brings me to something else that I wasn't anticipating doing, but we ended up doing, which is Amy Sherald. And I don't know if y'all know who Amy Sherald is, but she is an artist and she actually was responsible for Michelle Obama's portrait.
Oh, that one.
Yes, 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 yes. And when I tell you, y'all need to check out her exhibit at the Baltimore Museum of Art, which is where I hit up this past weekend.
Mm,
And it was just so amazing. And one thing I did do on the way up to the museum is play a podcast that was getting her, she was being interviewed by Touré. And
mm,
essentially, I want to shut myself out because I was just like, like, what can I like put on to go to the museum? Like, how can I educate myself a little bit more about what I'm going to go see? And
mm,
she just was talking about her experience, how she got to where she was, and how it just was such a come up to be able to A, meet the Obamas, but B,
mm.
to say that she was selected to paint the Michelle Obama. So I just got to shout Amy Sherald out because she is Black history and she is Black
Yeah.
excellence and everything in that and then some. So yeah, love me some Amy Sherald now.
Yes. Uplift Black art.
That part. Okay, and so let me transition this a little bit, Lens, because I think that we would be remiss if we did not talk about this very, very, very important thing.
Sure.
And it's one of the most important pieces of the episode today. Arguably, the most important pieces that we've been holding on since January. But
Yes.
in the year of 2026, we are continuing to think big. If you've been with us for the past couple of months, you know why we are saying this. And that's because we are shooting for 600 YouTube subscribers for the month of March. Woo!
Again.
What? Again, and again. But no,
Again.
this is the last time that we will be shooting for this number because we know that y'all got our back. So please, right now, if you can, pull out your cell phone if you're not watching on your TV, and go ahead and hit subscribe. Please, please, please. Or forward it to 10 people or 5 people and just tell them to subscribe because we're not at the point where we're asking y'all for money just yet. But we will get there one day. So
Oh,
right now,
I
the
love how
money
you
is
speak.
subscription. The money is that's
Yes.
what we need y'all to do.
Yes,
Just
yes,
please, please,
yes.
please subscribe to what all this amazing content that we're putting out.
Because we're trying to get to 5K by the end of the year. We're dreaming big this year.
That
And
part.
just because we've had the same 600 goal for the last 2 months doesn't mean anything to us because we're resilient, which is a
Yes, we
value in
are.
the Black community. And we're living and breathing it right now, guys. Living and breathing it. Woo. Okay, before we get into our like core conversation today, we're gonna quickly just run you through the episodes that we have for this month. So we go through like a 4 week cycle. And in the first week, our episode is a hall pass to the real world episode. What does that mean? This is essentially our current events episode. Like we take something going on in education and relate it to real life, or we take something, an event in real life, and put it like an educational spin on it. So our Hall Pass to the Real World episode this month was about baby boy Liam Conejo and in ICE and him being in a detention center and the impact that it had on the schools and the communities. Because I think a lot of people, there's so many angles to talk about what's going on today, but we really came from the perspective of like what it means for his other little friends in the classroom to be
Mm.
missing him and what it does to that type of community of students who just can't understand what's going on and teachers who are tasked with the the role of being able to explain things to kids in the community. So, if that interests you, you can hop on over to the Hall Pass of the Real World episode. And Jihad has our next episode.
Yes, I do. And I have to take a little note because what you said spoke to me and it just also brought it. I think I want to bring something up later. But all that to say, something else that we do is our lifelong learning episodes. And essentially, these are shorter episodes too. We try to keep it around 10 minutes. But here we honor the fact that learning does not stop when you leave the traditional education setting. It just continues, and it's important for us to pause and acknowledge that learning can happen when you are going to the DMV for the first time. Learning can happen when you get that ticket. Learning can happen when you literally are going to work and starting a new job. And so it's important for us to just soak up the knowledge that is out there so that we can essentially be our best selves. And this month, what we focused on is this thing called social media, y'all. Social media has evolved from the MySpace days and like I would even
Space.
call it like AIM Messenger, like those spaces to which we're being inundated with a lot of information on a daily basis. And I wanted to take a step back and just speak to the importance to know what a fact is versus what an opinion is, but also give you a tool or two because
Yeah.
there is so much information that is coming out nowadays, and that it's important for us to give you something so you can think through all of the info that is on this here World Wide Web. So yeah, take a listen if you feel like that is something that you want to know more about, because I really tried to break it down, and yeah, we'll talk about that some more.
Am I in love with Jihad? Yes. But when I say that episode was really good, that episode was really good. It's the a fact and opinion one because everybody is walking around nowadays acting like their opinion is a fact just because
Talk
they
about
said
it.
it and just because they saw a headline. I had to. That was on my chest. And then our third episode, which is always the third week of the month, is called Tech Evolution. Tech is always evolving, okay? Which means there is literally always something to talk about pertaining it. And y'all know AI this, AI that, and it's not being regulated. Like there's always something to talk about. And since Jihad is in tech and I am in ed tech, it just made sense to have a whole episode monthly that is dedicated to talking about the evolution of technology. And this episode, before like other episodes, we've like taken a software and broke it down and explained it to people. But in this particular episode, I really focus on the impact of screen time. Yeah. As I'm like adding an hour of screen time to your week, but that's not important here. But we talked about screen time and we talked about like screen time's impact on like young children, on teenagers, and on adults, okay, and how addicted we are to our phones. I was actually on the phone with my life insurance person yesterday, and we just got to talking about Instagram. I don't know how, but he's like, yeah, I'll be talking to my friend and I'll pick up my phone, I see my fingers like automatically swiping to where the Instagram app is. I said, yeah, like that's not a unique experience, but it's not an experience that we talk about enough. But
Yeah.
it is a level of addiction and a level of addiction to our screen time. So I talked about that in that episode, and mentioned some tips on how we can unaddict ourselves to the screen time. So tech evolution.
Shout out to that because I know that you've personally given me different, excuse me, episodes or excuse me, different tools and practices that I can even lean into. So I appreciate you for naming and calling it out because I even think back to like when I was babysitting, like the first time that I heard what screen time was, and like talking to
Mm.
parents who were like, "Oh yeah, they only get X amount of minutes for screen time." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" But then it all connected the dots, and here we are many years later, and I'm like, yeah, my kids and screen time, we are going to be very intentional about that. So thank
It's
you.
them phones. It's them phones.
So, at first we hit you with the one, two, three, and then we come to the space that we are here in now, which is our fourth episode, which is called Unscripted. And this honestly will be our longest episode, but it's where we do exactly what we've been doing this episode. We give you the recap. We go into a little bit of an overview of what we've been going through in our lives, and then we get into the meat and potatoes. And this month, like we said, I want to shout our amazing co-host out again because it was her
Mm.
birthday. So we celebrated that this month, and we got our Black History Month. And so today we're going to be using this space a little bit differently to talk about our values and the fact that we literally are the walking and the breathing and the folks who embody all of what is Black history. And while
Mm-hmm.
we love talking about history of the past, it's really important to recognize the living moments that are history. And so what values that we're going to be presently embodying, and where and how we're living in them.
So in the chat, I see some of y'all already in the chat because y'all listening. Y'all got y'all thinking caps on
Yes.
today. I could feel it.
I was worried
I
at
want
first,
you to
Lynn.
I'm always worried at first. I'm always worried at first. You just never know what direction anything's gonna go. Okay. In the chat, I would like for you guys to drop some of the values that you feel like we exemplify as a people today. Or you could take this perspective, maybe drop some values that you think we need to demonstrate as a people in order to demonstrate continued success. So just values that you think are important for us. Maybe they're just important to you and they can be applicable to the community at large as well. So I'm gonna zip my list for 30 seconds, give them some think time. Values that you feel like you are important to you, that can be applicable to the Black community. Resilience, yes. Eric, you better repeat what I said earlier. No, it's real though. It's real though. He's gonna kill me.
Know him well. Creativity,
Ooh,
authenticity.
creativity.
Yes.
He shot back quick. Unity, UNITY. I'm unity. Okay, those are good. Those are good. And Jihad and I kind of are going to go back and forth about with some values that we think are super important. So I'm starting mine. And my first one is kindness. Kindness, y'all. People just not, we not as nice as we not as kind as we used to be or how as we should be. And like I don't think that it has to be something major. Sometime like in the South, y'all be saying hello. Y'all be having full conversations in the grocery store. I love that. I love it because it just feels like, oh, I can freely be kind to someone. I don't have to think somebody's like out to get me because they said hello to me in the middle of CVS, you know? And then this weekend, I went to a party this weekend, went to a rager. And because I was enjoying myself so much, I tend to forget about things that are important, like my cell phone. So I just sat it down. I just put the phone down. And I also like, ain't nobody gonna steal from me up in here. I just put the phone down. Then I get done dancing and my phone's not in the spot that I left it. Crazy, I know, right? But one of my friends was like, hey, have y'all seen the phone? And then this guy was just like, oh yeah, is it this phone? He shows it to me. And I'm like, oh my God, thank you. He's like, yeah, I just saw it sitting there and I just grabbed it because I didn't want anybody to take it. He's like, you know, they be pickpocketing in Hollywood. Not that we were in Hollywood, but I don't know why it was brought up. But I'm like, that I like really felt, I respect that because I'm like, that's you being kind and thoughtful about. So you don't even know who the phone belongs to. So it had nothing to do with me. Like, it's just in your body to be kind, to like be supportive of the community. And then turns out, child, he was an Aquarius too. So now we friends and I follow him on Instagram. Like kindness really leads to community, whether it's Instagram community or not. Like
that's good though. You know, and it's such a simple word or term or value, but in the world that we're living in, I feel like it's not talked about enough. And I really, you know, going back to the other episodes that we've been in and talking about, I just really believe that if everybody is walking with the lens of kindness, that we wouldn't be where we are. That's what I would say. So yeah, shout out to that person.
And I'm glad you said that because that was the other point. Like, I think we're all aware of what's going on in the world today. Like whether, and when I say that, what popped up in your head might be different from what popped up in somebody else's head who's in this feed right now. But at the end of the day, we can agree that on crazy levels, there's just no kindness in these spaces. There's also no intellectualism, but that was not the value that we're talking about. And there's just nasty and inhumane stuff that's going on. So it's just more important than ever that we are showing kindness in order to strengthen the fabric, you know, strengthen the connection between our community members and continuing to grow our community with just something as simple as saying hello to somebody or smiling at somebody. Because I sure do hate when people stare at me and then they don't smile. You know, I'm just like, well, damn, now I don't know what you're thinking. I thought we was something.
Right. Give me something. Give me something.
Give me something.
So, Linz, you know, I think that for me, one of the biggest things that is a value of mine that I try to embody every day is stewardship. And what I mean specifically by that is service that is for
Mm,
the betterment of, community, for people, for everyone. And when I think of stewardship, I'm oftentimes just like, okay, I want to leave a situation, a space, a place, wherever it may be, better than I found it. And it also even bleeds into in the workplaces that I'm in, how am I lifting folks
mm,
up that are coming after me and not lifting them up to the space that I am in? But you can go ahead of me. Why? Because you doing what you need to do. You've already found all of the answers. You know the playbook, and I know that we've been going back and forth about like, okay, ways for you to be your best self. And I want you to go further. Like I want because you can hire me one day, and like
yeah.
just positioning ourselves from a space of stewardship as opposed to, this has to be this like, I am going to be super territorial over this role that I'm in. I am never going to be out of this role. And so I don't need to be thinking about how I'm going to leave the role. And that just, I think about previous
Mm,
roles that I was in. Um, Roles that I've interviewed for in which was told that I don't have the resources to be this leader in a school building, but then they hire someone who also doesn't have the resources to be in the school building. So it's just kind of
mm,
like a full circle experience for me that when I think about stewardship, I want to embody that in every single way.
yeah. I like the piece about just leaving something better than when you got there. Like, and it just really doesn't take much. And well, I have this point that I want to make for the other value. But Jihad is very serious when he's like, I'm trying to leave stuff better and I'm trying to get people in here in these spaces that are like outstanding, that look just like me. Like he is very on the ground trying to ensure that the people that he gets into his workspace when he if and when he decides to leave, he's left the workspace with like very high quality people and people that are very driven. And so I enjoy the fact that, like, I mean, I obviously know you personally, so I see that in your personal life, but it must be really nice to be able to demonstrate your own values in your personal life and your professional life, because I think sometimes it get a little difficult because I realize I'm generally a kind person. I don't play, but I'm generally a kind person. And I felt like in this new role, I was so jaded from my experiences in my last role with, especially with people who are not black, people who don't look like me.
Mm,
And when I got to this role where I'm surrounded by people who don't look like me again, I was just very like, I'm not anti collaboration because I saw Chris put collaboration as a value in here.
yeah.
I'm very
Mhm.
collaborative. It just like took me at least 2 months to be like, okay, I think it's safe to be collaborative here. Like, I don't think anybody's trying to take
Mhm.
advantage of my collaboration. People are like being appreciative, and I feel like I ain't done nothing. Like,
Mm.
my manager sings our praises at the end of each call. Like, you guys are doing great, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, girl, I believe you. But like, that is just the culture of it. So I was just like, oh, wow, he's hitting the point. Like, I did have to try and be kinder at work. And so I'm glad that it feels better to be able to be kind to people in real life and then
Yeah.
not have to switch off my kindness and have this like defensiveness. Now I have discernment. Okay, let's
Yeah.
be clear.
Yes. Yes.
Because you can't put nothing past nobody.
Mm.
You can't. But I'm also like, I don't want to rob myself of somebody else said joy. I think Eric said joy. I don't want to rob myself of the joy that I do experience in this space because I'm too busy questioning it. You know?
Yeah, and something else that popped up in as a value is Shaq said falling in love with the process more than the results. And that's literally what I mean by
Mm-hmm.
stewardship. Like yes, I'm here to get a job done, but what is the process that I'm getting that job done
Thank
in,
you.
and like
Thank you.
trying to remove bias from interviews and things, and making sure that you are not making a
Yeah.
decision based off of, to Lindsay's point, like a past experience that I may have had with the old coworker of an old coworker. Like, how am I showing up and like making informed decisions, but also trying to not be like, okay, like I'm just gonna come in here and not really be my, best and true authentic self. So I
Yeah.
love what Shaq said.
Because then why do you want to be there?
That
You don't
part.
want to be there. Let's see. Let's see. I see integrity in here. Integrity is really important. I mean, doing the right thing even when people are not watching. Okay.
Hmm.
I don't know why everybody. And you know what? It's interesting about values because that's why I'm glad that we had people actually write them out. Because what's
Hmm.
hard is like we are constantly projecting our own lived experiences and our own thoughts all the time, whether we try to do it or not. It's inevitable. It's just part of the human brain. But sometimes I project my own personal values and what I believe my community should be doing onto others
Yeah.
that like either aren't on the same level of community or like honestly like everybody was raised different. And so
Hmm.
sometimes I go into things thinking like, well, why did you say that? Or why do you act like it's the way you act? Why do you act like that? And I've had to be go in a process of like checking myself, which brings me to my next value, which is accountability.
Hmm.
Okay. And holding myself accountable to really be like, am I projecting on this person? Have I explained things to this person that would make our relationship flow better? Or does this person just need to go? Because some people aren't going to get it. Like,
Hmm.
I want anybody to leave here thinking that if you explain something to them, they're going to get it. I don't want anybody
Hmm.
to leave here thinking that. But I think that accountability is just so important. And I'm sure everybody can agree with this. Like, we're missing it. We're missing it. It's not embedded in our culture here. Like, I think that cancel culture is kind of like an example of accountability, but if it's not requiring a change action, is it really? You
Hmm.
know? And I think that we're also in a space where we talk about accountability on a large level. Okay, like this celebrity should have posted about this. But what about your friends? You
Hmm.
know, when's the last time, and y'all can answer this in the chat if you feel like it. But like when's the last time you had to hold your friend accountable to doing something to you, around you, or not doing something, or like
Hmm.
lack thereof? Or did you just do that thing? Oh, I'm about to get on my high horse. I can feel it in my chest. I feel it. I feel
Woo,
it.
come on, talk it.
This will piss me off about y'all because I'm not including myself. I'm not. There is this thing that people do. Okay, let's say Jihad did something. I can't even imagine what Jihad would do because Jihad's perfect. But Jihad did something that irritated me, right? That actually I just thought was just wrong. Okay. Let's say oh, this is something Jihad would never do, and nobody on here would do. But let's say Jihad, we went out and Jihad left me at
Hmm.
the club. Hold on. Don't do that. Jihad would never do that, right?
Right.
But what I have seen people do in these types of situations is they then go through this process in their brain of making up reasons as to why he did it. So I could be
Hmm.
like, oh, maybe he had an emergency and he couldn't call me, or I don't know, maybe he got arrested. We all do this. When
Hmm.
somebody does something we don't like, we in our head make up these reasons as to why they did it. Now, some people make up the reasons and they go and address the person anyway. Because the type of person I am, I'm going to address Shahad. You're getting
Hmm.
called. I'm pulling up actually because you've lost your mind, and I might call your mom. Like that's as far as I. That's how
I'll call your
I'm gonna take
mom.
it. Okay, I'm gonna take accountability to hell every time because she gonna get you better than I can get you.
Yes, you will.
Okay, but the other piece, like, and I have one of my friends. She does this all the time, and she makes up stuff in her head and never talks to the person.
Hmm.
So I'm like, here's an example of like you living in your own projection. When you are making up stuff about why somebody did it, you have not asked them why they did it. You have no
Hmm.
data as to why they did it. It's all in your own brain of what you've made up. It's not actually living, breathing, and an example of like connection and communication, collaboration with the person. So then we miss the opportunity to hold people accountable because we're making up stuff. And some people just believe that all conflict is bad conflict, and that being confrontational means like being anti-community or anti-relationship. When if we held people accountable, we would be able to strengthen the fibers. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Ooh. We would
Come
be able to
on.
strengthen the fibers of community if we held people accountable and saw that as an opportunity, me providing an opportunity for somebody to grow in this particular space. So that's I just feel very strongly about accountability and all the directions that it can go.
Yeah, no, you said that, and I think as soon as you said accountability, and there was even things that you were saying before that, yeah, we have to hit this comment too. But as soon as you said accountability, I think the thing that popped up to me was expectations versus agreements, and I think that oftentimes we move into friendships and relationships and just spaces in life in general with guys that you how you put things out is how you're supposed to receive them. But just because you put things out a certain way does not mean that that person is going to give you that same type of energy. So you need to make sure that y'all are in the same type of space, the same type
Yeah.
of place, because we're all at different phases and spaces in our lives. Like that's just the reality of the situation. And so
Yeah.
check to make sure that y'all are in alignment as far as, which is why we talked about this, as far as your values before you enter into that type of friendship with the person, the relationship with the person,
In
whatever it may
depth.
be.
Yeah. And that's what I'm learning. Sorry, this don't even got nothing to do with it. But keep people where they're at. Okay. Keep people where they're at. Like, I don't need to treat everybody like my best friend. It's hard for me
Yes.
because I just love everyone.
Yeah.
But then I kind of set myself up for getting my feelings hurt or getting irritated because I'd be irritable sometimes. But it's
Disappointment.
just like I put you up. Why would I hold you to the same expectation that I'll hold Jihad? That was my bad. You're still wrong. But that was my
Right.
bad because the magnitude of how I feel doesn't have to be as great if I lived outside of delusion.
Yeah. And and to that point, I think that yeah, I'm sorry, we have to talk about this. But I finally finished ANTM, and
Ugh,
it's a nah. Like
hallelujah. He's talking about the American Next Top Model documentary on Netflix, y'all. If y'all didn't catch that, why we acting
no,
like we're
but
sponsoring them? Sponsor them.
right. This is a quick segue. But I think that in regards to Tyra, this is what we're talking about when it comes to accountability. Like we need to have a conversation, and I think that it's bigger than it's yes, it's the show, but I think that it also bled into the relationship that she had with ooh, I'm blinking. What is their name?
Jay?
Jay. Sorry. And that was crazy to me that Jay could have a stroke and you never visit, huh? I think it just goes to show that we are
Never.
reaching the pits of hell with regards to accountability and making sure someone who literally made America's Next Top Model what it is today. Like there would not be America's Next Top Model without Jay. Like point blank period.
I'm saying Miss J before I'm saying Tyra, but that's just me. You know,
Oh, absolutely,
like
absolutely.
that's what I'm saying. Okay.
So quick segue, but yeah.
Yeah, quick segue. Okay, smooth transition to your next value, Jihad.
Yes, smooth. And when in doubt, listen. I think that, and this is very important present day. Like I was alluding to earlier, there's so much information that is coming out, and so I think that we are in a space now where it's just like information fatigue. Like I am sick and tired of hearing from different perspectives and not just out of that. But like when it comes to your people, it is important that folks have a person to confide in, to listen to. And I will be the first to tell you that like I will listen to a person and I will ask them all the right questions that I feel like I want to know. But if I need to regurgitate that story again, I am not. I am not the person to come to, and Lindsay knows this. She'll she'll give me like a primer in a story just to make sure, like, you remember this, and I'm like, yes, okay, great, yes,
Yes.
build that schema, build it. But I just want to call that out because I just think that in present day we are so quick to have an opinion on something. We're so quick to go write a dissertation about something or someone or how it made us feel instead of
Mm-hmm.
just actually trying to sit, listen, and reflect on like why this is the way that it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. I am. Y'all know I'm a yapper. and I'm quite extroverted. So I just always have something to say. But my friendship with Jihad, I feel like, has made me a better active listener because I talk more than him. Like, y'all should see us in our planning meetings. It's like if the meeting is 60 minutes, I talk for 43 of them. Oh, it's so sad, but it's just like, oh, like, and I appreciate, like, I love when people allow me to be me in a space, you know. But and I know that I take up space when I'm in a room, but based on my what I believe and my values and the people and the love I have for people I'm around, I'm like, I have to become a better listener and not always interrupt. Now, some people like the interruptions, but I have to do a better job of determining if interrupting this person and adding an extra point opens their brain to other points they had, or if they're more of like an introverted person and now I've kind of like taken away their momentum because I've interrupted them. So
Yeah,
yeah, y'all.
and I think that for me, I it's just the way that I process. Like I am an active listener because that is literally I want to sit with thoughts. I want to write things down, go back and forth. And now I got my good friend ChatGPT, so we'll go back and forth about things, and then I will come back and have this well connected thing that I've done like all different types of doodles about. And that's just the way that I process things. And it's not the
Mm-hmm.
fact that like I don't have anything to say, but when I'm speaking, I want it to be with the. I try my best to be intentional with my words,
Yeah,
and
me too.
so that's really where that comes from. And I think that and as I've like been in different spaces, I'm like, oh, okay. I peep that person being very observant. I peep that person being very listening and engaged in that regard. So yeah, to that point, I love a good listener, and I think we need to lean into the listening. And all these people who are out here speaking about things that they know nothing about,
No,
shut
nothing
your
about.
mouth. Like, please, listen.
Shut it. What's that? Y'all know that the meme where the guy is like grabbing the lips? That's what I just grab somebody's lips and then shut up. That's what I'm thinking.
Wish we could show it.
Wish we could show it. We're not, y'all. This is a learning experience for us as well.
Not there yet.
We're
Let's
not there
soon come.
yet, but it's okay. And our last value, which I think everyone's like searching for this or solidifying this, but it's
Hmm.
community. Community is absolutely something that we both value, and building it and intentionally maintaining it and pruning it because
Hmm.
you're not supposed to be there because everybody can't. I don't think everyone's supposed to be. Okay, I wish I could draw a picture on the screen, but like, there's you, right? And then there's like different layers and circles of community. And everyone is not supposed to be in the closest layer, you know? So sometimes you have to prune it. It doesn't mean they're gone forever, but they might just need to go out to the outside layer.
Yeah.
Um, and I think one example of community that I kind of want to push people on this. I think a lot of people have the part down of like, or at least conceptually or in real life, that community is about like giving and providing support, or sharing space with somebody. And I had to have a conversation with a friend recently. As most people know, because I've said it in a bunch of episodes, but I was unemployed for almost a full year, 11 and a half months. And so I have some friends who are in similar situations now. And I had a friend call me and they were like, oh, I applied for this job at this place. And we have a mutual friend that works at that place. And they were like, oh, can you give me her number? And I said, yeah, here. 3 hours later, the same friend calls me back and they were like, okay, I haven't reached out yet, but because I don't want the person at this job, I don't want our mutual friend to think that I'm just using her to get a job. I'm not going to respond how I responded to this person because I can respond to my friends how I really want to respond to them because I've built that community. Okay, they might have got cussed out a little bit. Because for me, and the way that I framed it for this person is that one, baby,
Hmm.
no one's gonna think that you're just using them for a job if you have a real friendship. Like that's your friend. That's your friend. Like we were just doing an activity together last weekend. She's not gonna think that. Also, realistically, y'all, unless you are best friends with the hiring manager, Just because someone referred you or whatever they did with your application doesn't mean that you're going to get the job. You know what I'm saying? But most importantly, when it comes to community, I was explaining to them that part of the community is also being in need.
Hmm.
Part of the community is also being in a space to receive. And if you are not in a space to receive, you should see it like this. Well, then I'm not giving that person an opportunity to feel altruistic and to feel like they did something, to feel good about themselves. We are all trying to build ourselves up, right? For generational wealth, for helping people. Like, I don't have all these resources. I'm not trying to network and all this stuff just for me. It's for my community. But if I never have an opportunity
Hmm.
to give you resources, tools, or connect you to a person, then I'm missing out on an opportunity to strengthen community. All because you're making up stuff in your head and you're not in a space to receive, which is also an important role in community. But I do want to tap on what Kennedy said earlier in the
Yeah.
chat, because she said reciprocity came up. Absolutely. We can't, it
Hmm.
does have to be, I don't want to say it's an equal balance. I'm going to say equitable balance. But as long as there's reciprocity in the receiving and the giving, like, I think that's just a core piece of community that people are not speaking a lot about on social media right now. So I want to uplift that.
Oh, yes. Like, oh, I just think we're in an environment, especially when it comes to like the job market and job hunting and all of that alone in itself is like a beast. And so that we could talk about that all day. But I think it also bleeds into other portions of our lives. Like community is you seeking a coffee chat, maybe the person not responding and you having to hit them up again. It doesn't necessarily mean that they don't want to talk to you. They could be busy. Like it could, there are different ways in which we are going through life and we have to be, and I think that you said it best, like you have to be in a posture to receive the support that you are seeking. And I want us to really sit with that because we are very quick to have an opinion about the way that someone not responding to us makes us feel instead of sitting with the reality of the fact that like no, like that person wants to help you, that person does want you to be in the space that they are in, that person does want to give you connections to a person that actually might be the hiring manager for the job, but it's going to take work and it's going to take you opening up
Yeah.
your mouth and asking for that support. So yeah.
Because closed mouths do not get fed. Okay. And if there's any other values that you feel like came up as you were talking, you can go ahead and drop those in the chat. We are we are about to close us out. So before you go, don't forget to subscribe and tell somebody you watched this live. Please, 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 please. Go ahead, Tyler.
And yeah, and with all this technology, I think that we're really forgetting about the power of word of mouth. And historically, as a people, we have used that to send message for survival, to produce change, and to inform one another about celebrations. So let's truly lean in to that as we close out this month and get the word out.
Get the word out. And if I could just leave y'all with something, like, we need to move away from this individualistic society and more towards collectivism. And I would just ask that as you continue the rest of your week and you close out Black History Month with a bang, you just remember to be kind. You remember to listen. You remember to be accountable. You just remember stewardship and all of the values that you saw in the chat today, because change really starts with us changing how we feel on the inside, but then also changing how we view life on the outside, so that we can spread this positive energy and really impact our communities in just a glorious way, move us more towards excellence. So we love y'all.